Hi there, my merry Vikings. Today, by request of @NelsonHelmstreet3568, I have made a more detailed video about building an elevated chicken farm. Well, to start, let's take a look at the structure I made before I build another one. The next one will be a close approximation, but will not be identical, as the building will always depend on the nature of the spot you choose. Plus, it is just to show you how to build, so it will not be as grand as this one. This pit is about 20 meters long by 16 meters wide. The part which is on the cliff above is about 5 meters long and about 18 meters wide. The hens are located above the pit and overlap it by about 4 meters. This is what the second build looks like from far away after I have completed it. It's very similar. Okay, let's begin the build. We should locate a flat area or make a flat area of at least about 20 meters wide, and it should be on high ground that will allow you to dig down by 14 meters at least without reaching water. However, there must not be too much of a slope, so choose a high ground that has a relatively gentle slope down and raise dirt to create a flat top for the cliff area. I have found gentle slopes nearer to water are better than those deeper inland. I'm not sure why. Perhaps inland, the overall altitude or height above water has an effect on slope. I was able to recreate this build more easily when I was nearer to water. If any of you succeed without compensating with wood or stone build pieces on a mountain inland, do let me know. Well, as you might have noticed, I placed a 12-meter tall core wood pole at the front of the build and near the water. This is to help me gauge the height I want my cliff to reach at the very least and not hit water when I dig down. So I keep raising dirt from the back towards the front where the cliff will be. When I can't raise the dirt any higher using the hoe, I use the pickaxe to dig down at the base of the cliff, making sure it is nice and vertical. I dig down another 2 meters or so. If you find you cannot, it is fine, as you can raise the height of the pen using wood or stone if it is not sufficient. Next, I flatten the floor of the pit. When you are satisfied that the height will be fine, you could raise the side dirt walls that will enclose the pit. However, I decided to build the pen first, as I wanted to see where the floor of the pen was going to be before I built the side walls. You could do the pit side walls first, it doesn't matter too much. The pole with the wood floor on it is at 14 meters height, but I want the pen to have some steps up, so I decided to go for a higher height than 14 meters. You could just extend the floor out flat from the side of the cliff. I prefer to have steps up because it helps me know where to stand accurately in order to throw the food to the hens. I placed 8 pieces of 2 by 2 meters wood floor tiles extending out from the cliff. Satisfied with where the start of the pen was going to be, I began raising the dirt side walls. Oddly, I could not get the dirt side walls to be as level as those at my original base. This is an example of how every build site has its own unique character. But it is not a big problem. Later, I will place stone wall pieces to level the surface out. Now that the dirt walls were done, I placed 8 stone stair pieces on top of the wood floor pieces I had placed earlier. This is where I will throw food to the hens from. Then I added several 2 by 2 meter stone floor pieces and 1 by 2 meter stone wall pieces to connect with the dirt wall of the pit, as I wanted to level the wall out later. I did the start of it now so that all the pieces would connect well and look good. When that was done, I placed another row of 2 by 2 meter wood floor tiles connected to the stone stair pieces. This was followed by 2 meter horizontal wood beams joined to the sides of the 2 by 2 meter floor pieces, forming arms that stuck out over the pit, and joined to each other by more beams, forming 2 meter by 2 meter open panels. Then, I used the 1 meter vertical wood beams to stand on the outside corners of the outer horizontal beams. Next, Next, I connected the 1 meter vertical beams with 1 meter horizontal beams. I need them as I want to place a 1 meter vertical beam in the middle of each outer beam, and that is the easiest way to do it accurately. Now that I have that short vertical beam in the middle of each outer beam, I can make my small 1 by 1 meter partitions by adding more 1 meter horizontal beams, creating a cross-shaped panel with holes. I will cover the holes with 1 by 1 meter wood floor tiles, except for 8, which I will use 1 by 1 meter cage floor tiles, as these are where the eggs will be placed for them to hatch. Next, I would build a temporary floor beneath the pen to allow me to place an extra cage floor tile under the first one for each of the 8 cage tile pieces. This is necessary as I want to create a depression to trap the chicken at the lower level so it will be harder for it to escape. When I got back to the top level, I placed 1 by 2 meter low walls on either side of each 1 meter cage floor tile. This will be the pen for the chicken once it is hatched. After that, I placed 1 by 1 meter low walls at the back edge of the cage floor tile, stacked 2 walls high. This will make sure the egg is dropped onto the cage floor when I throw it in, and it will help keep the chicken on the cage floor of the pen after hatching. I don't want it going to the wood floor at the back. Once done, I would start throwing 1 egg into each pen. Then I would close up the front with either a 1 meter low wall or a 1 meter low cage wall. I used the wood one first, but I will change it to the cage wall later so that I can see the chickens or hens more easily. I used the 45-degree angled roof. You can place these now if you haven't already placed the roof. Chicken eggs need the roof in order to keep the heat in from any nearby fire to warm it up. I placed 2 temporary fires nearby to hatch the eggs. See, the eggs are warm. Besides that, seal up the space with walls, as it is possible some chickens could escape from the pen upon hatching. Later I will close it up and make a building around the pens. See, 1 chicken escaped. In fact, there were 2 that escaped. The enclosure is to help you kill it later or to find its dropped meat or feather after dying by campfire. It is easier to just drop in another egg when you have one. Don't tire yourself out trying to push the chicken back in. Once the chickens have hatched, you can remove the back wall. Leave the last cage floor still in place so that the chicken doesn't fall into the pit. Once it has turned into a hen, the cage flooring can be removed, as well as the wooden flooring and beams in the middle. It's time to build the hearth and roof for the chicken pit. I left a narrow strip of dirt about 4 to 5 meters for the eggs to drop onto the floor of the pit between the cliff wall and the hearth. Then I placed my first 1 by 2 meter stone wall pieces so that all the eggs would get enough heat. When I had the first 2 down, I placed the hearth next and placed the remaining stone pieces around it. I left 1 tile space open to place the door. You could light the fire now as you build the chimney up or when you have completed it. On the other side of the hearth, there's plenty of space for the chickens to congregate after hatching. I built the chimney up to just below the dirt wall sides of the pit. Just cover up the pit with wood roofing of your choice to protect them from any flying mobs and allow an opening for the smoke from the hearth to escape while still being protected from rain. I made a small entryway on the side where the stairs lead down into the pit with a slightly higher roof and a door. You could use this as storage or to place a bed if you like. I hope this video is helpful to those of you who wish to build a similar elevated chicken farm. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section below. I'd be happy to answer them. Those who liked my original elevated farm can review the original video and see what you can glean from that. Happy building! Bye, my merry Vikings! See you next time!